got on. They were like, hey, Brandon, what you got on? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
On October 7th, 2023, a man wearing a hoodie and mask walked into a barber shop where his wife had brought their son for a haircut. Without saying a word, he pulled out a gun and shot her twice, once in the torso and once in the head. Police and paramedics were called to the scene and pronounced a mother of 4 dead at the scene. This mother was a 40-year-old Tiffany Wade, a very faithful Muslim woman. Moments earlier, she had gifted her father $10,000 after divorcing her husband, who was in jail, and went on to marry another one. No one knew what had happened that day until the heartbreaking details began to unfold. This is the most shocking and tragic story of Tiffany Wade. This story happened in North Philadelphia, a place with a deep history of Black activism. Back in the 1930s, many African American residents in the area stood up for better rights, fair work conditions, and stronger representation. It's also a community known for its rich culture and strong spirit. However, North Philadelphia has also faced serious challenges with crime, especially violent crime. Homicides have been a major concern. The area is often mentioned in efforts to fight gun violence and support local programs focused on building a safer community. And it's in this city a rich woman fell. Tiffany grew up in Pennsylvania and had big goals from a young age. She always wanted to help people, so she decided to become a nurse. And she didn't just become any nurse. By the time she was 20, she was already a registered nurse and the youngest person to ever graduate from Methodist Hospital Nursing School. She worked really hard, and people noticed. One of her classmates even remembered her saying it was funny that she could give people medicine and shots, but she still wasn't old enough to buy a drink. It was a joke, but it showed just how much she had achieved at such a young age. But nursing wasn't the only thing she cared about. Tiffany had a business mindset too. She was always thinking of ways to grow and create more for herself and her family. Over time, she became a business owner, running a bunch of things like a hair salon, a catering business, home healthcare services, and even her own CBD and hemp brand. So, Tiffany used her nickname Kisses as the main name for her business, and under that, she started smaller brands. It was a smart move. This way, she only had to register one main company, but could still run lots of different businesses and make more money. That's something many smart entrepreneurs do. One thing that also pushed Tiffany to succeed was her love for the finer things in life. She enjoyed luxury and didn't hide it. She traveled in style, wore designer clothes, jewelry, and nice wigs. She often shopped at high-end stores like Givenchy, Dior, Fendi, and Prada. But she didn't just spoil herself. She had kids and made sure they had everything they wanted too. Life was going great for Tiffany. She had money, good friends, happy kids, and a father who truly loved and supported her. In fact, on one of her dad's birthdays, Tiffany took him out to celebrate and surprised him with a $10,000 gift in the form of a big check. She recorded the special moment and later shared the video online showing just how much love and care she had for her family. Despite all her success, Tiffany stayed true to her faith. She was a devoted Muslim, and people close to her said she practiced her religion with deep respect. She would sometimes visit places like Dubai and dress modestly to reconnect with her beliefs and stay grounded in her faith. Tiffany didn't just practice her religion, she shared it with others. She spent time mentoring people, helping them learn how to read and understand the Quran. Even with her busy work life, she stayed deeply connected to her faith, proving that no matter how successful she became, her beliefs always came first. But behind all of Tiffany's success and kindness was a side of her life that many didn't see. She had been married to a man named Armand Hilton from Chester, the father of her youngest child, Storm. Armand, who was also known by the nickname Speedy, had a long history of trouble with the law and had only recently gotten out of prison. His record showed a pattern of violent behavior. Tiffany never shared photos of their relationship on social media, so most people had no idea she was connected to someone with such a dangerous past. Back in March 2002, Armand was involved in a serious crime where he and 2 others kidnapped a 17-year-old boy. They grabbed him outside a store after finding out that the boy's family had recently received a $100,000 settlement. The group held the teen for ransom, demanding $50,000 to let him go. Kidnapping is a very serious crime, especially because it can sometimes end in death, so the boy's family was terrified. Thankfully, the family went straight to the police to report the incident. Officers put together a fake bag of money as a trap. One of Armand's friends showed up to get the bag, which led to a police chase and his arrest. At the same time, the kidnapped teen, who had been tied up with his mouth and hands bound, managed to escape through a window and find help. Armand and the others were later charged with kidnapping, robbery, conspiracy, and aggravated assault. But that was not all Armand did. Some sources say that Armand suddenly obtained a large amount of money, but it wasn't clear where the money came from, so it's hard to say if it was earned legally or not. So, with this money, Armand decided to invest it in real estate. But because of his long criminal history, he chose to use Tiffany's name in his real estate portfolio. This caused tension between them, as Tiffany was worried that if the money was ever linked to anything illegal, she could get into trouble too, even if she had nothing to do with it. Later on, Armand was arrested again, but the reason for his arrest wasn't shared with the public. So while he was serving time in prison, Tiffany chose to end their relationship. Then she filed for divorce. She never explained her reasons fully, but it's likely she didn't want her son raised around someone with a criminal background. Maybe she was worried that Armand could be a bad role model or bring trouble into their lives. Now, when Armand was finally released from prison, he found Tiffany had divorced him while he was behind bars. He had trusted her to look after his properties. Worst case for Armand, he found out that Tiffany had married someone else, which meant he no longer had any claim to the properties, and that made him furious. Some might have hoped that prison would change Armand for the better, but it didn't. He had been in and out of jail since he was 23, starting with the kidnapping case. Instead of learning from his mistakes, his time in prison seemed to make him even more bitter and dangerous. At first, Armand asked Tiffany to remove her name from the property documents and give him full ownership. But she didn't. Instead, she kept moving forward with her life, marrying a new man and posting happy photos on social media. This only made Armand angrier. He saw it as a betrayal he couldn't forgive, and that anger slowly grew into something far more dangerous. In one phone call that Tiffany recorded, you can hear Armand filled with anger, speaking bitterly about the betrayal he felt. He was upset that Tiffany was living a flashy lifestyle, one he believed was being funded by the very properties he had trusted her with while he was in prison. To him, it wasn't just about money. It was about pride, control, and a deep sense of being wronged. Given his long history of violence, it wasn't surprising that he didn't handle rejection well. In fact, he stated that he was ready to go back to jail at that point.
About you, I snap on him because I look at you different. Why the fuck did you worry about my baby mom? I don't give it. Yo, if you ever was the talk to nigga, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that bitch. That bitch ain't on my level. She ain't the fuck nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around me. I didn't know that bitch.
And you've been bringing it up. So now I'm gonna give you what you want. To touch you again, I'm never physically gonna hurt you. You marry this nigga, I'm blowing his fucking head off on everything I love. I'm going back to prison on every. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. I told you stop throwing it in my face. If this is what you want to do, go in and do it. Stop throwing it in my face. All right. I just left you 2 months ago. Stop throwing it in my face before I kill the nigga. That's what I'm telling you, because that's my mindset. I will go there. to be together. Like, I really do. Really do. I miss the whole everything.
Tiffany began posting worrying messages online, hinting that she was going through a tough and possibly unsafe situation with her ex-husband, the father of one of her 4 kids. Friends and family sensed that something was wrong, but no one knew just how serious things were. Still, Tiffany went on with her everyday life. But one morning, she was taking her son to the barbershop for a haircut, just like any other day. What she didn't know was that her 44-year-old ex-husband, Armand, was following her, ready to take revenge. She arrived at the shop around noon and waited as her son got ready for his haircut. Sadly, that moment of peace was about to turn into something tragic. The barbershop would soon become the scene of a terrible crime. In this surveillance footage, a man is seen walking toward the barbershop in broad daylight, wearing a hoodie and a mask to hide his identity. Moments later, the same man is captured running in the opposite direction, this time holding what appears to be a gun. He then jumps into a getaway car and speeds off, leaving the scene behind. Just before 2 p.m. on October 7th, a 911 call was made reporting a shooting at a barbershop on the 2500 block of West Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia. When police arrived, they were met with a tragic sight. Tiffany Natifa Wade lying unresponsive on the floor. She had suffered gunshot wounds to her torso and head and was pronounced dead at the scene.
Again here at 4:30 with a cold-blooded barbershop murder impacting more than just the victim's friends and families.
Police say a gunman executed a man while wearing a garment associated with the Muslim community. For more on how religious leaders are reacting to the troubling crime, we go to Action News reporter Maggie Kent in Germantown now. Maggie.
Sarah and Brian, I spoke to an imam who has a masjid just a few blocks away from here. He's concerned about the violence and concerned about there being any pushback once this video is released.
Police are looking for this man who they say targeted his victim, shooting him at point-blank range. He's seen walking up to the barbershop on the 5900 block of Germantown Avenue, then running from the scene. It happened at 1:15 in the afternoon, Thursday, April 6th. The 35-year-old victim sat down for a haircut and was murdered in cold blood. The scene was just feet from the 14th Police District. The crime scene investigation left neighbors uneasy.
It's right around the corner from the police station, so it's hard to believe.
This recent act of violence is a source of major concern for Imam Hassan Abdi, the faith leader of the Germantown Masjid.
It tarnishes the image of the Muslim community.
In the video, the shooter is seen wearing an izar, a Muslim waist garment.
If it was a disguise, it's despicable behavior because it sort of brings unnecessary attention to the Muslim community. If it wasn't a disguise, it's even more despicable because not only was it the month of Ramadan, the blessed month, the person committed one of the gravest crimes in Islam, which was murder.
As officers began their investigation, it didn't take long for them to identify the main suspect, Armand Hilton, Tiffany's ex-husband, and the father of her youngest child. What had once been a troubled relationship had now ended in a devastating and irreversible act of violence. Witnesses later shared that Tiffany and Armand had a rocky on-and-off relationship full of conflict. It's not clear exactly when they ended things, but what is clear is that there was a lot of tension between them. Tiffany had tried to move forward with her life, but Armand's anger had been building, hidden just under the surface. And on that tragic day in October, it finally exploded. After the shooting, Armand ran from the scene and the search started. He is currently wanted for several serious charges, including murder, robbery, and firearms violations. While this story focuses on the murder of Tiffany, it's unclear who the robbery charge is connected to. What is clear is that the Philadelphia police are treating this case with the highest level of urgency. This tragic case took place in 2023, and as of the time of recording this story, Armand is still on the run. Despite the serious charges against him, including murder, robbery, and firearms violations, he has yet to be captured. Authorities continue to search, and the $20,000 reward for information leading to his arrest still stands.
Police also released video of the getaway car allegedly used in the murder, the silver Pontiac Bonneville.
As with every homicide here in Philadelphia, investigators are offering a $20,000 reward for anyone who can give them a tip about where this gunman might be.
His continued freedom is a painful reminder that justice for Tiffany has not yet been served. There have been many controversial opinions surrounding this story. Some people argue that Tiffany should have reported Armin right away, especially if she had received threatening messages. But the truth is, no crime is ever the victim's fault. There is never a justification for taking someone's life. Armand was someone who once claimed to love her, they shared a child, and had built a life together at one point, so it's understandable that Tiffany may have believed she still had some time or that things wouldn't go that far. Sadly, that trust cost her everything. Some people believe that Tiffany should have returned Armin's property, especially since she had moved on and married someone else. They argue that it might have prevented the situation from escalating. Tiffany Natifa Wade's death is a heartbreaking tragedy that should never have happened. Her children are now left without a mother, her family is grieving an unimaginable loss, and her community has lost someone who truly made a difference. But beyond the pain, her story serves as a wake-up call. It raises serious questions about how the justice system handles repeat offenders, especially those with a history of violence. Maybe it's time to reconsider how many chances are given, especially when those chances put innocent lives at risk. Friends and family came together to honor Tiffany's memory and support the children she left behind. It was a moment of deep sadness, but also of love, where people shared stories, offered comfort, and stood by her kids as they faced life without their mother.
Family and to the friends of the family of Natifa Tiffany Wade. There is no loss greater than the loss of a human life. There is no pain greater than the pain of loss of a human life. Family, what we're going to say on 3? Kisses. As the doves circle to find their way home, your loved one, Miss Tiffany, is already home.
1, 2, kisses!
It was clear that Tiffany had touched many hearts, and her absence will be felt forever. What do you think? Should there be tougher rules for repeat offenders, or is there a better way to handle it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Burnt my leg. I lost my mind. I was only drunk because I didn't have no food. Nobody cared that I didn't have food. Y'all just kept giving me Patron. I didn't have any food all night long, and I paid all the money for that food. Hey, y'all. I look a mess. I don't even care. Huh? Oh, they about to walk in. I'm opening up gifts. I should have at least laid that down. Where the Joe? Huh? Gift cards. All right, so listen. I'll wait for more people to come on. Mom, for real. It's $150 on that gift card? Listen, the party list. The kids taking all my gifts. The party list from this year is going to stay the same. We going to invite them same people back.